and welcome to the Wayfaring Panda. I'm Annette. Today I'm making a butterfly theme card, and I'm making this for Newton's Nook Designs Inky Paws Challenge. So the challenge is to use one of their stamp sets or more, and to use the colors Kraft, brown, orange, and teal. And then you post a picture of your creation, and then you get put into a drawing for a gift card. So I like this because it challenges you to do something different and also to get a card done. Now, normally I would think of butterflies with spring colors, but these are more fall colors, and actually I do see more butterflies in early fall than I do early spring. And these are colors I actually really do like to use together. So I'm starting with a piece of Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I'm using my blending tool to put on Salvaged Patina, and I just got this ink and I really like it because teal is one of my very favorite colors. Then I'm taking a smaller rectangle that I cut out with Bristol Smooth cardstock, and I cut both of the rectangles with my Lawn Fawn Stitch rectangle dies, and then I'm just going around the side with Vintage Photo Distress ink. And I just use the Oxide on the other because I only have Oxide in the Salvaged Patina, and the Vintage Photo I only have in Distress ink. Next I'm going to do some heat embossing, so I'm just using my EK Success embossing buddy to go over the cards, and that's really just putting some powder over your cards so that you don't get any embossing powder sticking where you didn't stamp. You can also use cornstarch or baby powder for this. First I stamped some butterflies on my white panel. This is the panel that's going to go in the inside of the card, and I'm using Carved Pumpkin Distress ink. And Distress ink you can put embossing powder over because it stays wet longer. Then I sprinkle on some clear embossing powder. This is from Ranger, but you can use whatever brand that you have. And then I use a heat tool to melt the embossing powder. I like to start from the bottom and then go to the front. That way you don't put too much heat on one side and then your paper won't warp as bad. Then I'm doing the same thing with my outside panel, and I'm using the stamp from Newton's Nook Heartfelt Butterflies, and it's a heart shape filled with butterflies. And I'm using the same orange ink, which is Carved Pumpkin, and I'm using my stamp platform because I don't have a block that's big enough for this stamp. Also, it ensures that I can keep stamping over and over to make sure that I get a good stamp, which I had trouble getting the right hand side on there, so I did have to stamp multiple times. Then I'm just using the clear embossing powder like I did before. Now I like using the Distress ink for embossing because that way you can use any color of ink and then use clear embossing powder. Otherwise you can buy embossing powder in different colors, but this way you only have to have clear and just use whatever color Distress inks you have. Next I'm going over the front again since I figured the powder might have come off by now, and I'm going to emboss my sentiment with Vintage Photo Distress ink and clear embossing powder. I wanted to do the turquoise because I have a turquoise embossing powder, but that wouldn't show up on the card panel. So the sentiment I'm using is Chase Your Dreams, which I think goes really well with the image I'm going to put on here. And also it's a very encouraging statement, and I'll probably send this to one of my sponsor girls in Mexico. That sentiment came from the Captivated Kittens stamp set, which I will be using for the image. And the one I'm using for the inside is coming for the one where the heart butterflies was, which is the Heartfelt Butterflies. So I'm stamping this with VersaMark ink, which is clear, and then you could use a colored embossing powder. So I'm using this turquoise one, which comes from Ranger also, and it's called Aqua Tinsel. And it's one of my favorite colors. Then I'm just using my art glitter glue to attach my panels to my Kraft cardstock A2 size card. And I decided the last time I used this cardstock that I didn't really like stamping directly into the card. I would prefer that my inside messages or images be on a white cardstock. So that's why I made it inside panel. Now the art glitter glue, I've had lots of people on videos really recommend it, but it seems awful thin to me and I didn't like it for little images. So I'm using it for my card panels and that works really well for that. Otherwise, I generally prefer to use my Nouveau Deluxe glue. Next, I'm stamping an image from the Captivated Kittens stamp set. And I'm using some Copic friendly paper. And I'm using Memento black ink. It's Tuxedo black ink because you can color with Copic markers with that or other alcohol markers. And for some reason, my table was shaking more today, so I apologize for that. Next, I'm using my Copics to color the image. And I'm just doing some general coloring. Since some of the parts are really small, I'm just using one color and not blending. I only did blending with the actual cat part. And then I'm adding stripes. And I'm not very good at stripes, but I'm still working on it. I'll put a list of all the products that I'm using below. Some of them will be affiliate links. Those don't cost you anything extra to use, but I do get a small % of commission from any sales that the links generate, and that helps support my site. On the face and body, I did do some blending, and then I do what I normally do, and I start with the darker color and then move to a lighter color. And then I go over it more than once till I get the shading that I like. I try to keep the face around where the nose and the eyes are a little lighter. Otherwise, if you go dark there, then you can't see the stamped image. I fussy cut out my stamped image and then I'm going over the white areas with my BG10 to look like sky and have it blend into the back of the card. Then I'm using some dimensional squares to pop up my cat image on the top of my card. And these squares I made with some cardboard and double-sided tape from Elizabeth Kraft Designs. I just put it on the back of the cardboard and the top and then cut it out with my paper trimmer. And that way I don't have to use foam all the time. I decided the kitty needed to be grounded on the card, so I'm just using a brown marker to put in some ground or shadow underneath him. Next, I'm adding some embellishment. I thought the card needed a little bit extra, so I'm using my glossy accents to attach some jewels from Pinkfresh Designs, and they're kind of an aqua color. And I'm just using my jewel picker, and it's getting a little used, so I'm going to have to clean it so that it becomes more sticky. Now, I do struggle with embellishments. I'm kind of cluster them in groups of 3, but I'm never quite sure how much to put on, whether I'm not putting enough or whether I'm putting on too much. Let me know what you think. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a like. And if you're not already a subscriber, I'd really appreciate if you can subscribe to my channel. I hope this helps inspire you to make some cards and get busy crafting. I'll also leave some links to some other videos that I made for further inspiration. Have a wonderful day.